All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies contained in this webcast may not be suitable for you. Please consult your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Thursday's Jobless Claims edition of premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, we're getting a little lift off the closing price yesterday in the S&Ps, currently trading at 1369.50.
Yeah, a little lift here, Joel, but I'm not seeing. I'm seeing the financials pretty strong. I know European financials were a little bit stronger too, but really besides the financials, I'm not seeing a heck of a lot up. Some isolated movers, UTX trading up, but overall, I'm not seeing a broad-based rally here, which is a little concerning.
Okay, level of focus on the upside, 1370.75. Yesterday's high coincide with Monday's low. Globex low Globex high right in an area. So in order to right the ship, we need to get above this 1372 level and hold it, and the correction is over. Coming back on the downside, now that we've traded this far up from the close, 1364 is going to be a huge number. Looking at the oils, Dennis, the oils aren't joining the party. ExxonMobil still flat, trading below Wednesday's high. It's going to be your first resistance point. If it gets through there, you can't get too carried away because you got Tuesday's high just above it.
The oils have just been in trouble here, for the last week and a half. Even ExxonMobil, looking at that, it got a little bounce back day yesterday, but really, really was overall, like even Chevron actually went red for a while there yesterday. But this morning here, we're up 5.5 points in the S&P, a little bit more with the fair value, and ExxonMobil is trading flat right now in the pre-market, 82.70. So relative strength not good in the oils here this morning.
Yeah, Chevron Corporation upping the guidance yesterday, and I believe they got an upgrade too on the street and still made a new low for the move. So I know there's a gap way down there in 98. I don't know if we're going to get down there, but it's sure starting to put some pressure on the $100 level. Apple Computer, everyone's ganging up on Apple Computer. The Justice Department yesterday came out with that news. The only thing I can say about Apple, folks, is we're sitting on some major support here. The 623.34. There's absolutely nothing under that, Dennis.
Apple was weak yesterday too, Joel. It got a little lift there right off the hop, but then started turning around and selling off for the majority of the day. Again, around the same time as the day before, I think, if I remember correctly, around 11 o'clock. Sellers came in and they actually sold it off $10. It was around 11 at 11 o'clock. It was around 6:34, Joel, and then by just after 12, it bottomed out at 6:24, and it did bounce a bit off of that. But then it was finding some support in that whole 6:24 area, getting a little lift here today. But the relative strength for the last couple of sessions has not been great in Apple.
Okay, the only notable mover in the Big Ten here, keep an eye on the 30-30, 30-23 level, and Microsoft, the old double bottom there. It's favorite for formation before it makes a new move. So low risk buy here in Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, Joel, a lot of these techs could be in play here a little bit, just with Google coming after the bell. And Google actually, I think there was SunTrust raised it to a buy or something. And Google here, Joel, is trading up $5. So you wonder if tech could be a source of strength. Sometimes they like to buy them. Obviously, Google reports earnings here after the bell. So sometimes they like to buy these stocks ahead of the number. And you wonder if it could filter into some of the other stocks, too. I seen IBM was trading up a little bit earlier, too, Joel. It traded as high, well, just 100 shares went off at 203.58. But maybe some of these tech stocks, like Microsoft, is getting a 15-cent lift here. So maybe some of these tech stocks get a little bit of a lift today prior to the Google numbers. What do you think of Google, though, Joel?
Yeah, boy, I was looking at that yesterday, Dennis, and I'm thinking, wow, this thing could certainly be a buy here through the 636 level. It's been really consolidating there. And lo and behold, one little upgrade, and we're through that level. So it will now be support. Looking on the upside, Dennis, there's really not a whole lot of resistance up to the recent highs here at 647.95, 647.5, double top back from the beginning of the month. What you folks should keep an eye on in the pre-market is the 642.50 has been the pre-market high.
We do have some movers, though. Sector that's moving seems to be these health insurers. You got McKesson, which is MCK. They got a big, well, they're actually a drug retailer, but the whole drug area there. McKesson won a contract there, a big one, and it's trading up here over $4, Joel. 91.60 after closing at 87.90. MCK is the symbol on this one, Joel. And the 52-week high, obviously, there, 88.92. So we're trading well through there. 91.6. A big move for this stock, Joel.
Yeah, like I said, this keep an eye on the pre-market high here, 92.46. If in fact it gets through there, it's going to $100. That's been the high in the pre-market. Has settled in just above the 91 level. Don't think I'd want to be long this if it takes out 91.
Yeah, these are ones that can turn around and start selling off. They won that contract, interesting enough, from Cardinal Health, I guess. CAH was a bidder in there. But you got CAH, which is bid up here too, Joel. 41.81 it's bid at right now. Just trading, not a lot of volume here associated with the move, but is bid up after closing 41.26. Sometimes you see, if they lose or if they don't get the contract, the other one sells off. But it's not the case. A lot of these, the CAH is rallying today. I'm seeing AGP. I don't know if there's some other news out there that I've missed going across the tape, because I'm seeing that whole sector just trading up here a little bit, Joel. What do you think of Cardinal Health? I mean, consolidated chart, you had that 41 level. We've bounced off that. What do you think?
Well, it's going to run into problems here at 42, Dennis. 42.05 was a high back on the 9th, so that's going to be resistance. Above that, you have a wide open run up here, free 50 cents for our traders, up to 42.48 to 42.50. But this 41 level, if you want to try and buy it on the cheap, Dennis, you know how I like those double bottoms there, so that should be a good area for a low risk buy entry if it comes back down.
I want to talk. Some of our traders like to trade these dollar stocks, and Rite Aid reported earnings here today. Symbol's RAD. It's something that we probably never cover on the show, but it has had a pretty wild range in the pre-market here since the earnings. It rallied up to $1.81, sold off to as much as $1.66. So it's a pretty big move for a $1.70 stock. I was looking at the chart just from the last few days here. I'll try to get it up here for you. But anyways, here I'm trying to bring up the chart. But the last few days we were right in that same type of range there, where we went up to this $1.81 area, and I'm not being able to bring up the chart. But the last couple days there, we went up to $1.81 and down into $1.65 in the regular sessions. You see, so in the pre-market, actually going right along with the range from those last few days, Joel.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get involved in this, I would use those parameters. Ton of support, 164, 165, the lowest in the last 2 days. And also, Dennis, keep an eye on 174. Use that as your swing number. That was a high from 2 days ago. But if in fact it can bust above this 182 level, Dennis, got a little room up to the 190 level.
AT&T getting an upgrade, Joel. Going back to our Big Ten, I guess. AT&T upgraded by J.P. Morgan here this morning is getting a nice lift in the pre-market, up 35 cents. That's a big move for AT&T in the pre-market. Obviously, maybe some analysts see some value here. They do have a nice dividend, which we talked about. Obviously, a WinX dividend, a few sessions ago there, and it has kind of been selling off since then. But getting a bounce here with the upgrade, though, Joel.
Well, my top number in my sheet's 30.84, so you need to sell it at 30.84.
You got it right there. What's the pre-market? Isn't it right there? Pre-market high, 30?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, let me take a look at it there. That is a big move. It actually went. Yeah, it's topped out at 30.82 in the pre-market, so keep an eye on that level. I'm sure anyone that scooped it up under 30 on Tuesday would be looking at this as a gift horse in the mouth, be looking to dump it out. I gotta imagine, Dennis, that you're gonna run into some problems here at 31 here. No real number on the radar to support that, but just something tells me after a sell-off from the new 52-week high, 31.95, you had the $2 break, you go down to 29.95. I think this 50% tracement, this 30.95 to 31 level, it's going to be tough to get through.
Yeah, I think so too, Joel. I think that 31, I think I highlighted that on the Market Movers sheet as well. But yeah, this is a stock here that's a thick stock, and when this thing moves 25, 30 cents, a lot of traders, and especially the shorter term traders, get pretty excited to get that out of this stock. It's a lower risk stock, so when you get 30 cents out of it, it seems like a lot bigger gain relative to your risk. So wouldn't surprise me if they did find some sellers here up in the 30.80 area and all the way up to 31.
And of note, Dennis, just this thing trades, monster volume. 21 million shares it traded yesterday, 22 million. It's up 30 cents on 27,000 shares. So I think people are going to step in and whack this thing.
Verizon, we should just talk about it because sometimes it'll have some sympathy moves with the AT&T. It hasn't even traded a share yet today in the pre-market. This pre-market's been real quiet. We're reaching a little bit here for a show because there really isn't a heck of a lot happening in the stocks. I know you're up 6 or 7 points with fair value here, but really I'm not seeing a heck of a lot of movement in the overall stocks. And Verizon hasn't even had a trade yet go by. I mean, you'd think it'd get a little bit of a lift maybe off the hop with the AT&T being up 35 cents. I know there's a ton of people that pair trade that, and did get a pop there today. So maybe do some quick numbers just for our pair traders out there, Joel.
37.50 looks like the level, Dennis. Two highs there. Yesterday's high at 46, previous day's high at 51, and the 3-day high at 61. So it's going to run into some trouble there. If in fact it's going to clear, get above that area, you have daylight up to 38, or just below that 37.92 is a 4-day high. So this stock's trying to get off the mat too. After a sell-off from the $40 level down to 37, 50% retracement would take that back to 38.50.
Yeah, there's just not a heck of a lot happening. I'm just going to look at the gold stocks for a minute because gold actually is coming under a little bit of pressure again here. We've got the GLD down 66 cents and looking like a stock like NEM. These things just cannot get a lift, but this is an interesting formation on the NEM, Joel. We're looking like we're possibly going to break down through it today, which is why I'm highlighting it. We had 1, 2, 3. See that level, Joel? You know the level I'm talking about. Yeah, I'll let you take over.
Well, no, you got all those lows from 47.59 to 47 or 47.80, and now it's trading below that level. I use that as a swing number. I wouldn't get too faked out, but I've been telling you, Dennis, these bounces in the gold and the gold stocks. I mean, they're just like 1 or 2, 3 days, and then boom, the bottom falls out again. But that's about all that we have for today, folks. There's only one more stock I want to highlight of the Big Ten. J&J, 64 to 66, folks. You heard it here first. Traded 63.96 yesterday, but that couldn't last very long. So strap it on. We're going back up to 66.
I don't know. I honestly think eventually it's got to break down through.
Oh,
this
yeah,
range.
right, Dennis. Yeah, right.
But it doesn't, Joel. The stupid
stock.
Wake
me up.
Yeah, I know. The stupid stock, the 64 to 66, man, if you've been playing that for the last 3 months, you are a hero because this thing, you could have sold 64 to 66. I don't know how many times. It's back down here at 64 again. It's bounced every time it's gotten to this level. It did cut through it a little bit, though, yesterday, which is a little nervous. I mean, not by a ton, 63.96, barely through it. So I don't even know if you can consider that. I mean, if it did start to open up and cut below that 63.96 low from yesterday, then maybe, Joel, we start to, open up there. And I don't know if you could get down to as low as 63 or not. The stock is so thick. We might as well just stay on just because the jobless numbers just came out here, Joel. Not great. The actual numbers here, we're only up, we just lost three points here. So the market is giving back a little bit here, Joel. I mean, the stocks were indicating that a little bit earlier. They just weren't strong, even showing it to it. So it almost was a little bit of a tell that maybe this number wasn't going to be that great. And now the market overall is starting to give it back. I wonder if we're going to stay positive, Joel.
Well, folks, next time Dennis says the market's up and the SPOOs are up and he can't figure it out, get short.
Yeah, I know.
1364, though, the close is going to hold. We ran into the resistance. We're range trading today, Dennis, I think. I can't see a lot, taking us through the low. I bet you we just go down and bounce off the Globex low and then bounce up to 1369 and go down to 1365. I mean, I don't see this as being that big of a surprise based on the unemployment news that came out last Friday and just the way this market's trading and the way it went down yesterday. But Dennis, I have one question about the J&J. I just didn't know if you did a similar to your Pfizer trade. You bought it at 64, and then it went down to 63.96, and then you scratched it when it came back to 64.
Well, I probably would have did that, Joel. You know how I am. But actually, no, I had to take off a bit earlier because I ended up going to the Tiger game yesterday. So I didn't get a chance to play it off that level. But I probably would have got shaken out when it cut through. I'd be like, 5 cents? Oh, I can't take 5 cents risk. I'm getting out of here. So
I
who
just
knows?
thought
But yeah, so I actually ended up going to that Verlander Tiger game, which is a whole other story where Verlander wasn't fun to be a Tiger fan yesterday. But that's another story, Joel.
Or a Red Wings fan, but
well, it was a tough day in the D-town for sports, Joel. So
okay.
sorry to our D-town listeners there. It just was not a great day for you guys yesterday.
Okay, all right, folks. Just gonna bounce around today. Don't get too excited if we do take out that Globex low 1363.25. Seems like we got some buyers that have been stepping in the last few days that didn't catch the move on the break on Tuesday. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be back at 10:30 with our market outlook.